Hello friends, welcome to this channel, Center of Excellence Pharma 4. In this episode, I'm going to discuss about digital pharma, how you are going to safeguarding against emerging cyber threats. Let me give you a brief introduction. We are focusing on to Center of Excellence Pharma 4. Dr. Jain Joshi has developed this concept and we are representing about cutting edge new emerging technologies which are coming up and how these technologies are revolutionizing the pharma industry by embracing the principles of Industry 4. Dr. Jay Joshi has already wrote 3 books onto this, the digital transformation about blueprint, strategies for mid-size manufacturers, and ROI for Pharma 4. These books are available on Amazon, Kindle as well as paperback. We have also designed a course on smart manufacturing in pharma, which is available on Udemy platform, which has got about 20 modules, and user can pick and choose the module of his interest and then can go on extending it with other modules. YouTube channel was started about 5 years back and has about more than 300 videos focused on to emerging technologies, digital transformation, and Pharma 4. These are all covering starting from business strategies, plan, implementation, change management, and going up to validation and KPI. Podcast channel which you are listening is available. We already have about 30, 40 episodes. This is the next episode which I'm discussing. So today's agenda is about introduction, evolution of threats, strategies for cyber resilience, and conclusion. So in introduction, it's the cyber threats are evolving. It's increasing reliance on digital solution. And because we are depending upon the digital solution, there are more emergencies of new cyber threats which are coming up. We have to have strategies for cyber resilience. We have to understand what are the threat landscapes, and we have to implement how we will effectively countermeasure those attacks. So there are threats from mainly from the third-party vendors, vulnerabilities, because significant risk is coming due to many interconnected operations. In the entire digital supply chain management, we are connecting from demand side, supply side to operation sides, including the manufacturing machines and move material and product movements with the IoT sensors and all. This is where there is a possibility of the threats coming up from even the areas which probably may not be as foolproof as you may be thinking about it. So exploitation of the less secure vendor systems, which we have to really target and we have to really think about them. Internet of Things, as I mentioned, has got more security risks. These new vulnerabilities are there from connected devices. IoT devices as a potential entry points for the cyber criminals. Employees are sometimes making errors, and that is another threat. The insider threat is from over there. Human errors as a critical factor in this shift. Accidental and malicious insiders threats are also there. Evolution of threats. Ransomware attacks are growing up. Phishing, and we are using social engineering, that is also causing many threats. When you are talking about the ransomware attacks, the incidences are surging, and there is a significant increase which has been observed. And since we are in the pharma industry, there's a lot of sensitive data, either about the material, the production processes, and all that. So that healthcare sector is very particularly affected, and also we have to really take about it. Some statistics show that there is about 264% increase in the ransomware attacks during the last 5 years. So we have to see that the critical systems can be locked very effectively. Consequences for the pharma industry is that it may even stop the production, and will disruptions will be there, including going up to the patient cares. So we have to keep those in ideas. Another area is phishing and social engineering. Prevalence of sophisticated phishing attacks are now developed. Phishing attacks are increasingly mimicking the legitimate communication, and their target often include the partners and the regulatory bodies, which is very dangerous. Impact of successful phishing attempts are there on compromising the sensitive data, and then there is a potential for effect which entires the organization. So we have to really take care of that. Third-party vendor vulnerabilities are there. Interconnected nature of pharmaceutical operations are a big challenge. Since we are depending upon the many third-party vendors, they pose a significant risk because we are connecting with them, a lot of data is getting shared from those third parties, which is also required in a effective data-driven decision making, which we want to use it because we want to do seamless data integration for the complete supply chain. And these operations are now getting highly interconnected. And this is where the chances for the third parties to penetrate into our systems, these are increasing. This is where exploitation of the less secure vendor systems, as I mentioned it, we are connecting vendor systems and we are not too sure about the controls about the vendor systems and all. So many times they try to target on those systems, and this is what is the challenge. So access is gained to more secure networks from there actually. In our systems, we can have effective controls about access to the system. But when we are depending upon the third party, we may or may not have that control. As I mentioned earlier, Internet of Things has got a more security risk actually. We are relying on to those connected devices and sensors, or maybe RFID devices or something. And manufacturing is now depending upon more and more onto those IoT devices. And we want to connect those devices to streamline the operation. Whether it's a regulatory required documentation, or whether it's a production data, or there's a movement of the product and batches and all. So the new vulnerabilities are getting introduced, and they are, each IoT device can become a potential entry point for them actually. So we have to be more and more careful while deciding, while connecting, while controlling the data from those IoT devices. And cyber criminals are targeting those inadequately secure IoT devices. The importance of adequate security is there. So securing IoT devices is very crucial, which we can control it by preventing unauthorized access and any other cyber attacks which are likely to come over there. Employee errors and insider threats are there. Human errors in the cybersecurity is another factor which we have to consider. Critical factor in breaches, and that can be either accidental or could be a malicious also. Insider threats are there leads to the significant data compromises. So, what are the strategies for cyber resilience? Some of the factors which I thought I will share with you. The first one is we have to establish a comprehensive cybersecurity framework. We have to implement frameworks like NIST or cybersecurity frameworks which have been designed by either IOC or IEC 27001, which include the assessment, data protections, measures, access control, and regular continuous audits which are there. Second is we have to adopt a zero trust security model. So we have to verify every access request, regardless of its origin, mitigate the risk associated with the third-party vendors and internal users. Third factor which we have to think is about enhancing the employees' training and creating awareness between them. So we have to have a regular training sessions on recognizing these phishing attempts and other cyber threats. We have to use the tabletop exercises and penetration testing for the real world scenarios preparation. Implement the advanced threat detection technologies which are now getting developed, and it's a continuous process. Cybersecurity needs the most important thing as far as the pharma industry and digital supply chain management concerned. We have to develop a test incident responses plan, and it should have a maintain regulatory compliances also. Now, how we will develop and establish a comprehensive security framework? There are two things. One is that we have to design and implement it, and second, what are the things which we have to include must be considered. The implementing cybersecurity framework is that those have been designed, or there are guidelines as far as the NIST cybersecurity framework is concerned, or you have to have a ISO or IEC 27001 requirements. So those are the things which we have to follow. And that includes key components which are there: conducting a risk assessment on a regular basis. That's security audits should be considered. Implement a data protection measures and establish access control systems at each and every level and perform the regular audits. Now, how to adopt a zero trust security model? When you are transitioning from a traditional systems to a new perimeter security, we have to shift to a zero trust approach and verify that every access request, irrespective of coming from which origin, should be really tested as per the guidelines or strategies which have been designed for the cybersecurity system. Risk mitigation is there, reduces the risk from the third-party vendors which have to be considered, and then that should address the internal user threats and all. Now, implementing the advanced threat detection technologies, you have to consider the AI-driven powered tools. Artificial intelligence is also considering, identifying, detecting, and nullifying those risk factors and all that. So you have to analyze that network traffic, network security and all, and detect if there are any anomalies which are being found in a real-time basis. And then considering that you have to deploy the new next generation solution, which will take into consideration the new potential threats which are coming up and all, and which should really block those threats before they reach either to your network or to the employees and all that. We have to develop and test those incidences and responses plan. So whenever you have to see that such incidences are likely to happen, those response protocols needs to be designed. And then that should identify and outline the steps for detection. Containment procedures should be designed, should be followed. Eradication methods are to be drawn, which should eradicate those threats as and when they are detected to nullify those attacks. And in case if there is any attack, what will be the process for recovering from those cyber incidences should be drawn. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, regular testing and conducting those checks and audits or identify those vulnerabilities are to be detected, and that should ensure the readiness. Now, pharma industry is looking for the regulatory requirement, that documentation. They have to follow the GDPR, 21 CFR Part 11, and FDA guidelines and all that. This integrates the compliances to the cybersecurity also. As you know, 21 CFR Part 11 and all has already drawn those statutory requirement from the compliance point of view. So you must strictly follow those actually. And regular review of those compliance measures will help in addressing and evolving those regulatory requirements. And that will mitigate those emerging threats and all that. Enhance employees training and awareness. This is the most important thing. We know we are trying to do a lot of automation related to automation. IoTs are already considering it. But finally, it is still employee driven. Those skills which are driving those entire supply chain management processes and all. So regular training sessions are must, and they should really focus on those phishing attempts or any other cyber threats which are really coming up. And we must do the actual tabletop exercises, how those things are trying to happen it, and then we must give employees real-time scenarios, if such things happens, how they will protect those informations and all. So finally, I'm coming to the conclusion is that evolution of cyber threats must be there. So cyber threats will change the pharmaceutical industry, which is now getting evolved digitally and all. We are shifting from analog to digital, and since in the digital, these are the more challenges are there. So proactive strategies for resilience are to be developed, and those strategies, either it's a culture, technology, or governance, have to be followed very strictly, very effectively. So ensuring operational integrity is there, enhancing resilience against cyber threats, protecting sensitive data, and essentials of maintaining trust with patients, partners, regulators is essential. And this needs a continuous improvements and all that. So this is very important as we are moving from silos based to a continuous connected world actually. So I gave you a brief overview. For more details, you can find some of our more videos onto our YouTube channel. And in Udemy, we already have a one module designed and developed mainly for about this particular attacks and all that. So feel free to look at those things, share with your network, share those comments. So in case if you have any suggestions, do feel free to write to us. Thank you. Bye.